It is over.
Hey guys, I'm Wrestling Daze, and you're listening to the Insiders Wrestling Podcast.
Welcome everyone to the Insiders Podcast, and we have got an interview with community tonight. We are here with Jessi Calynn. You guys may know her from Calyn's Corner. She's got her own YouTube channel now out there as well. So hey, welcome Jessi, and we are glad to have you with us. How are you today?
I am quite all right. I'm glad to be on the show finally. And I know people have been like, when are you going to go on to the Insiders? And I'm like, well, I'm going to get there, I promise. And so here I am. I'm glad to be here.
There you go, guys. Your wish has been granted. See, we try to get wishes granted on this show. Well, let's start out. So, Jessi,
including our own wishes.
Including, yep. And Jodie's here to listen. Well, this is the Quadruple J interview. So we have J's everywhere. We have myself and Jeff and Jodie and Jessi and every other J you can imagine. So
Yes. And a partridge and a pear tree.
And yes, this is the Quad J interview. So, so Jessi, let's start with the community. So how did you get started with the Daze community? How did you find it, and how long have you been involved now?
Oh, okay. So I found the community actually about a year ago. Well, actually maybe just under a year. I found Dayz in June and See Wrestling in July, so like right around the same time. And I think the very first video I saw from Wrestling Daze, which I just recently figured out, was actually one where he had like a funhouse setup that he had created and a Bray figure where he like put a sweater on it to make it look kind of more like Funhouse Bray. And I didn't discover that till later. I always thought that the first video of his I discovered was his reaction to Bray Wyatt attacking Finn Balor, because that's the most memorable one for me, or at least at the time it was. So, you know, that's kind of what brought me into the community. I saw that and See Wrestling's theory videos that got me all hooked in and everything. And I kind of feel like these two share a community, so it's like I got to know everyone at that point through hanging out with both channels. But yeah, so that's kind of where it started. I love it. I enjoy the streams. I enjoy all the people. You guys are all super awesome. So, yep.
There you go. Right back at you. So how long have you been a wrestling fan?
I've been watching wrestling for about 21 years.
Wow.
Probably about the same time that Smackdown aired or came into existence, I suppose. And I just remember walking in the room and my older brother was watching it, and I believe it was a promo between The Rock and Triple H, back when The Rock had all the sideburns and all the colorful shirts and stuff going on. And I just remember watching it and being like, this is kind of weird, but it's also kind of interesting. And I've just become a fan and been a fan ever since then. But I did fall off for about 10 years, you know, and then just got back into it about a year ago, early last year, just before WrestleMania. And then Bray Wyatt kept me hooked, and I'm all in it again. So this is great.
Okay. So you got back in it because of Bray?
I got back in it because I knew that Batista was going to have a feud with Triple H at WrestleMania,
okay.
And I really wanted to see that match. And I was just like, all right, I want to see this. So maybe I'll go ahead and do that thing where I get WWE Network for the first month free, and so I could see WrestleMania. So I did. And then after WrestleMania was over, I was like, well, I have the network. It's not that expensive, but I need something interesting to happen in order for me to keep the network, because I don't really want to get rid of it now, you know. I like to be an honest person in that respect, not just get it to see a show and then cancel it. So I kind of was like, God, give me something really interesting. Let me see something good on this show so that I can get hooked and be into it and keep the network, have an excuse to keep it. And then Bray Wyatt came into the picture with the Fun House, and that's what kept me.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now, what attracted you to that? And the reason I ask is because we get a lot of people who have joined the community around that same exact time. And oddly enough, it's most of them have come in. I know myself, Jeff, Jodie also have come in at that same time or come back to wrestling at that same time. Even when we were talking to Gary Horn, he even mentioned the same thing. He had gotten out, got rid of the network, like you had just said, and then he came back when the whole Bray thing happened. So what attracted you to that character? And I'll ask you the same question we seem to ask everybody that says this. Did the horror aspect of the character attract you to it? Because we're all horror fans. Jeff is, I am, Jodie is, and almost everybody else who answers this question says that same thing. So there's a two-part question for you. What attracted you to that character, and are you a fan of the horror genre?
Well, the first thing I will say is that the horror definitely completes the whole thing. So pretty much I was watching like little, I was watching the WWE clips online because up until like recently, as in last week recently, I wasn't able to watch the show live with everybody else. So I was just catching everything on YouTube, watching the clips and stuff. And I was hearing people on Twitter and everywhere else talking about Bray Wyatt on there. And I was just like, well, let me see what this is. Because I saw like the thing with Mercy the Buzzard before the Funhouse actually started. And I didn't know what on earth it was. I just remember people complaining about it. And then I came back a couple weeks later or so and saw, I think, like the second episode of the Funhouse. Because I think I missed the first one. At first, I went back and watched it, obviously. And I was just like, this is weird and interesting. And I didn't know anything about Bray Wyatt at the time because I had heard of the Wyatt family, but, not watching the show for 10 years, you kind of miss things like that. So I was just like, well, apparently this guy was like a horror character before and people really liked him, and they don't like that he's happy or something. Okay. It is a little weird, but it is intriguing. Let me just keep watching, And then I actually, watched it until I saw the little things where they'd flip the screen with like the worms and stuff like that. And it got me instantly because I was just like, oh, I know what's happening here. Okay. So I was hooked, from the moment I saw that whole thing. I was like, this isn't like happy-go-lucky. This is a twisted happy-go-lucky where you're seeing, this innocent looking scene with this innocently, supposedly child-friendly looking character show host thing going on. And then you have the dark aspect mixed into it. And from that moment, I was just like, this is genius storytelling and I already know it. And I'm going to keep watching this. And yeah, I was just hooked from that point. And without that, I feel like it would have been so incomplete. So, it would have just been like maybe a goofy character. He would have been funny because he is funny. But because that whole dark half is mixed in, it wouldn't be a story without that whole thing, because that's kind of the whole point. That whole, he's let his darkness in and all this stuff and everything. But it was just brilliant from the very beginning, pretty much. When I saw that, I was just like, oh, this dude's a genius. So that's what happened. And yes, definitely, the horror is definitely needed with this story. Yeah, that's about the bulk of it, I think.
Okay. Are you do you watch horror? Are you a horror fan? Do you watch horror movies and stuff like that too?
I like intelligent horror movies.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is I used to watch horror movies like a super lot. Like I used to watch like the whole gory ones and all that craziness, and Saw and stuff like that. And the thing I liked about Saw is the idea behind the story, the valuing life thing. So, I get that bit. and that's what I liked about it. But after a while, I was just like, I don't need to watch people mutilating the human body. I can get my thrills some other way or something. But movies like Orphan and the movie Us that came out a couple years ago, stuff like that, that's my type of horror movie, because they're very intelligent, they're very creative, you know. Like anytime someone asks me what's a good horror movie, I always tell them, go see Us. That movie was fantastic. It was so good. Go see Orphan. That movie was brilliant. I mean, it's kind of a cross between horror and thriller, but it's both, you know. And maybe my thing is just horror thriller movies, I don't know, but you know, I like an intelligent story to be told. So that's probably why I like Bray's character so much, because there's intelligence behind it. It's not just something mindless and people getting slaughtered or something like that. It's a story being told. So I respect it. I think it's awesome.
Cool. Okay. Jeff, ask her the loaded question, because we got to ask her the loaded question. We ask this of everybody. Go ahead.
The horror movie loaded question?
Yes, we've got to ask her. We ask everybody.
Okay. All right. So yeah, we got to do it. So, Jessi, what is your favorite horror movie?
Oh, wow. I guess I just kind of answered it, didn't I?
Okay.
My
Fair
favorite
enough.
horror movie is definitely got to be the one I just said. It's definitely got to be probably Us. And it's funny because it's a new horror movie, but
Right.
just so good. That movie,
It is.
watch that movie again and again. And I still got to watch the other movie that was by the same guy that came out before that one, because I
Yeah,
was
Get Out.
that good. Yeah, that's what it's called. That's the only reason
Yep,
I
Get
haven't watched it yet, because I didn't remember what it was called.
That was an awesome movie.
My brother said, you got to go see that movie. And my brother doesn't even watch horror movies, so I know it's got to be good. So, yeah.
It's a really good one.
Us and Orphan. I like Orphan too, but I think Us is probably my favorite one. I like the feel of that movie also.
If you
There you
like
go.
those kind of movies, those like psychological, like with Get Out and stuff, one of my favorites is The Skeleton Key.
Oh, I've heard of that movie.
Have you seen
I
that one?
remember
Jeff?
that. I remember that one. It was pretty
Yep.
good.
movie.
Yep. That's Morgan Freeman, right?
Oh.
No, it's
I thought Morgan Freeman was in that one.
I don't remember her name now.
You're thinking Along Came a Spider.
Spider,
or-
yes,
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of who was in. Gosh, you had to ask. You had to say that one right now. Normally, I would know. Right
Let's
offhand.
use our Google, shall we? Here we go.
Oh, that's
Skeleton
what
Key is Kate Hudson and
Kate
Peter
Hudson, that's it.
and Peter Sarsgaard.
Yes, it was a really good movie.
It's a very good movie.
That's going back a
Great.
ways. 2005.
Great twist. Great
Okay.
twist.
Very good twist.
I'll have to
Okay.
get that one checked too then.
Well, we ask you the loaded. See, we have to do that. We have to put people on the spot and ask them that loaded question every single time they come on. It's kind of like an initiation. So there you go. So another person who's come to the community pretty much because of Bray. That's awesome. So let's go there. So you started in the community around that time. I think you might be in a little bit longer than we have, or maybe a month or so after. What attracted you to? So what brings you back? What brings you, after the first time you watched it, what keeps you coming back to watch Dayz? I know people have a lot of different answers to that. I know people say, Brandy, for instance, loves the way he laughs. Apparently loves his singing. She got him to sing yesterday or the day before, so that was kind of but yeah. So I mean, what keeps you coming back to the streams?
Well, I think obviously, I think Dayz is really funny, so that always helps. And of course, I always tell people whenever they ask me that question, pretty much it's the positivity. I like positivity, so when someone is being positive, I like it. So keep it positive and you keep me. That's kind of how I feel about that, I suppose. You know, he's funny and upbeat and all that good stuff. And we need more funny, upbeat in the world, I guess. So, you know, some people are too serious.
That is very true. That is very true. Especially nowadays, we need that for sure. I agree.
Nowadays.
I agree.
Now DAZE.
Nowadays, right? Yeah.
But,
So we'll get back into the wrestling a little bit. So I mean, obviously we've had big ups and big downs. So we know that your favorite wrestler now obviously is Bray, I'm guessing.
yes.
Okay. What's been your favorite match so far that you've seen him in?
You know, that's always a hard question to answer. I see people ask that question a lot, like in general, what's your favorite wrestling match ever? And I'm like, well, goodness, I've seen hundreds of matches. How do I pick that?
That's another loaded question. So that's part two.
Okay. See, I got to think about it. You know, my favorite Bray match, to be fair, I really enjoyed watching Funhouse Bray wrestle because it was Funhouse Bray, and I love Funhouse Bray so much. Let's see. I think my favorite match, just because of the result, was probably the match. What was it? Crown Jewel, the one where he won the title.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, and I loved it because the moment was such a big moment. You know, surreal. Everyone's all happy and wowed and crying and all that good stuff because Bray finally got the championship he deserved, and we won't remember the small detail where he lost it recently. You know, that didn't happen.
What didn't happen? I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
That's right.
I don't know what I'm talking about either.
Yeah, that was a great match. I remember being at work, and again, it's one of those things where you just won't forget, because I remember being at work when that happened, and I'm trying, because I knew when it was, around the time it was, and I had my phone on, and I'm working at Best Buy, and I'm at the Geek Squad counter, and I'm doing something with somebody's computer, and I just remember I turned it on pretty much right at the end, and all of a sudden, of course, I had the Dayz stream on, and I had my phone. I meant to turn it down. I didn't, and the phone was on. And all of a sudden, you just hear Dayz with that scream that he yells out at the end of that match. And people start looking over at me, and they're like, what in the name of God do you have on your phone? And I get over to my phone, and I'm like trying to turn it down, and it's just a continual scream. And I'm like, oh my goodness. That was certainly a moment. Absolutely. And yeah, I mean, it was a culmination of so many things for that character. And, I mean, Jodie quickly pointed out at the end the emotion that he showed. Jodie, I know that you noticed that, and I didn't get to see it live. I had to watch it later on. But, I know you quickly pointed out, you could see that he kind of broke down after he won.
He did. He almost went out of, you could tell he was going in and out of character a little bit, because he was beside himself with emotion. He was happy, and I'm sure he was thinking, thank God I got this mask on, but he definitely overjoyed.
Yeah, you could really see it. It was absolutely a great match. Have you ever been to see anything live, Jessi?
Well, it's funny you ask that, because I was supposed to go to a house show that was here local about, I don't know, 4 months ago, maybe 5 months. It might have been December, actually. I don't remember for sure. I think it was the beginning of December. And we were going to get tickets for it. And somebody kind of stole my husband's credit card information or something like that.
Oh, boy.
And get the tickets. So, I mean, in the end, he won, because it was like this whole big thing. And, I always tell people, don't mess with my husband, because he's going to win, and he's going to win hard. So, and he did, he lost like $400 something, and in the end, he ended up with $1,000. So I'm just like, just don't mess with my husband, okay? Extraordinary there, I feel. he's awesome. I love him.
We always have to give a shout out to the husbands. They make appearances every now and then. Like Jodie's husband will just, he makes a little appearance on Abby's one. So shout out to Jesse's husband. What's your husband's name, Jesse?
My husband's name is Fred. And
shout out to Fred. There you go.
It's possible he'd end up stepping in had I been home to do this interview, but he'd be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, babe. I forgot you were recording. I'm just going to grab this item real quick," and then he's going to like get out the room real quick or something like that.
Well, there you go. Another husband shout out on our show. There you go. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, Jesse, I got to ask you this too. Everybody knows you for the artwork that you do. So when did you get into the art stuff? I mean, have you been doing that since school? Have you done it in college, or tell everybody when you got started with the artwork?
Sometime since I was a little snot.
Okay,
so for real, I probably started drawing when I was somewhere in the single digits. I was a little kid, and of all things, I think I started with anime. So, and I still love anime. I still love anime and video games. I'm a super nerd. I like anime, video games, and wrestling. So yeah.
There you go.
So I've been drawing longer than I've been watching wrestling, because I've probably been drawing for about 25 years. So, and I guess, as a kid, you just enjoy doing it, and I never lost the enjoyment. So I kept doing it, and I realized I was actually pretty good at it, and then I got better at it. Then I went to college for it. Yeah. So I actually graduated in 2018 with a degree in media arts and animation. So
very cool.
Awesome.
Very cool.
I have one of your drawings that I'm looking at right now. So you do great work, and I will be purchasing some more in the near future.
Oh yeah, I'm glad. I feel bad because I forgot to put my autograph on your photo. So actually, Rusty Shackelford, it's hard to say his name. Anyway, he bought one too, and he's going to hear me jack up his name when this interview goes live. But I remembered to sign his, and I was just like, man, and I didn't sign Dayz's, and I was just like, I didn't mean to not sign those. Sorry, guys. So. But I sent yours at the same time that I sent Dayz's, so neither one of them got autographed. But they do still have, at Jessi Calynn art on them.
Right.
So, yeah.
So it's all good.
There you go. So you were into anime. So do you have a favorite?
I do have a favorite.
What is it?
My favorite anime is actually this anime called Blood Plus. And once again, it's actually kind of a horror anime of all things. Mm-hmm. But it's one of my favorites. It is my favorite, and it's because the storytelling is fantastic. The character development is fantastic. And it has a beginning, a middle, and an end. It's intriguing, and it's got action, and I like action. It's not like, I can't stand the stuff where it's just like slice of life comedy, goofy stuff like the whole time. I need a real storyline, and that show has definitely got a real storyline. They got everything that I could possibly need to be satisfied with any anime or TV series of any kind. And then my other favorite, that's not because it's good, but just because I grew up on it, is actually Digimon. So
okay.
I love Digimon. Everyone else loved Pokemon. I was just like, that show's stupid. It's not as good. Digimon's better. That was me growing up.
There you go. I could see anime in your drawings, especially the ones that you did for C. So yeah, I could definitely see the influence there. I grew up with some of that too. Now, I mean, I'm a little bit older, so I've seen anime when it was coming over to the United States in the 70s and 80s, which was actually probably starting in the 60s. So I've seen stuff like Speed Racer, the original ones. I've seen an anime called Star Blazers. I've seen a lot of that stuff. And then a little more recently, I watched Vampire Hunter D, which I like a lot. I've watched an anime called, a friend of mine is really into it. She'll watch almost anything. I watched one called Escaflowne with her, I think it was called.
Escaflowne is awesome.
That was really good. Really good. And then I watched another one because I got into it because of a video game, which I'll actually go there with you too. I watched one called Dot Hack.
Dot Hack.
Yes,
I love Dot Hack.
I love that too. That story actually really hooked me. I got the game. The game wasn't so great.
Well, which Dot Hack are you talking? Because there's like a whole bunch of them.
There's a ton of them. Yeah, no, I know. I'm pretty sure I watched whatever the very first one was, because it came out around the same time the game did. But I got the box sets of them, but yeah, there were tons of those. And I probably stopped it after maybe the first or second one, I think that I saw. But I just like the concept of being sucked into a world, like you get sucked into an MMO, like a computer game, because I was big into World of Warcraft then. So yeah, I just like the concept of it. So video games too. So there you go. What video games do you like? I mean, what are you playing now? Anything good?
Well, I don't play anything right now because I never have time.
Okay.
But I'm a Nintendo kid, so
okay.
Totally, my favorite video game is Legend of Zelda. Mm-hmm. So I love Zelda, Ocarina of Time. I really want to play the newer one that's name is totally not in my brain right now. My brother has it. I've played a little bit of it. I thought it was awesome.
The one on the
Always
Switch.
wanted a world with no invisible walls.
Mm-hmm.
So, I love Zelda and I love Mario Kart and I love Super Mario and Mario Party. That's my things. And if we go to PlayStation, I love the Kingdom Hearts video games. And I would actually love to try out what's it called? I can't even think of the name of it, but it's that game that you can like play with other people online, which is like every game these days, I guess. But the one where everyone it's got 100 people and you all kill each other and the last one alive wins.
Oh, Fortnite.
That one. That's bad.
Yes.
I know the name of it and I couldn't think of it.
Yes.
Because I'm on the spot.
My son plays that game all the time.
Yep. My daughter does too.
My nephew plays that game and he plays Persona 4 and 5 and all that stuff all the time.
Personas I never got into, which I don't really know because I love RPGs, but I never got into them. I think you and I talked about this too. I'm a Final Fantasy guy.
I like Final Fantasy.
Love those games. And the new one, tremendous. I can literally run around on the screen and just admire the graphics of it. And I don't want to finish it because I know the second part of it doesn't come out for God knows when now. It was supposed to be probably next year, so with the virus and everything, who knows? But I absolutely love it. It's a fantastic game. But
I love the art mostly.
The artwork is phenomenal. Like I said, I could just stand and just admire like the background. And the story, the story I'm familiar with because I played the original one, but it's just amazing. Amazing to look at. Jodie, do you have, I've got to get Jodie in here. Jodie, what questions do you have for Jessi?
Ask away.
Did we lose Jodie? Okay.
I'm here, sorry. I don't really know.
God,
okay.
I have a question. You're just asking me, and I'm like, no, I'm not ready.
So you got a like from Bray on Twitter, didn't you?
He's liked
Your artwork.
I think 3 out of the 5 things that I've shared on Twitter that had him on them. He, of all things, the drawing that you have, Jeff, Bray's never that drawing. He's seen the black and white version of it, but he's never seen the colored version. And then the other one that he saw was the one where the mask is broken and you could see part of his face. And then my header is the other one. He's clicked like on all 3. The header with just the eyes or whatever. But he also did not see the Kentucky Fiend chicken one, which is a bummer because I've been trying. I tried so hard to get him to see it because, I thought it was pretty funny and brilliant. Except, props to Dayz because he's the one who thought of the idea. He was like on a stream one day. He's like, somebody has to make Kentucky Fiend chicken. And I'm like, Oh, that
Done.
can be arranged. So I did. It was perfect. And it's still perfect. Hey, someone can buy that too if they want it.
I remember that stream, actually. I remember he was coming up with food names for wrestlers. Yeah, I remember that one. That was pretty funny.
That was hilarious.
So you did the art thing. Now, did you? I know you do commission work and stuff like that. Have you ever done that professionally? Have you wanted to do that kind of stuff professionally when you were done with school?
Oh, well, the idea was to do it professionally. I wanted to sell art, and that, I mean, I do sell art. I mean, you could go to my Twitter right now, and it's pinned on there. Art for sale. Jeff has one. The rest of you should totally have one as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I still owe you my money.
Oh yeah, I still got to ship you them things. So I got to give you my Cash App so you can actually send me the money.
Right.
I'm slacking. See, I need to be. By the time that this thing goes up on Friday, before then, I will definitely send you my Cash App. Yep.
There you go.
So yeah.
The next thing I've got to ask you is, where did you start coming up with the jokes, and how did that whole thing get started? Because I know if I don't ask this, everybody's going to crucify me for not doing so. So I've got to ask you that. How did that get started? Because I'll be honest with you, I don't really remember. I know obviously it got started in the streams. It went over like a ton of bricks. You got popular for it, and it just shot right up the ladder. You got your own segment. So how did that all get started? Where did you start doing that?
Okay, so the joke thing is it's so random. That whole thing started because, I would go in the streams, and I still sit on the streams most of the time. It's just that I don't have time to talk because I'm always working while I'm there. But at the time, I guess I was working earlier in the day, so I would sit there. I would be at the gym on the treadmill and sitting there talking on the streams and listening to Dayz and stuff like that at the same time, and watching wrestling on one of the big screens at the gym. And so pretty much, anytime the opportunity presented itself and someone would say something in the chat or Dayz would say something, I would just make a random joke out of it. It wasn't even one-liners at first. I'd just say random stuff. Like one night, for example, he was streaming, I think it was actually a Wednesday night, NXT and AEW. And I was grocery shopping while I was listening to the stream. And I was also broke, but I needed toilet paper. So I was just like posting in the stream and saying things like, oh, I'm just out trying to find 2-ply toilet paper, cheap 2-ply toilet paper, and stupid stuff like that. Just random things. And people laughed. They thought it was hilarious.
Yep, I remember that.
And then I would make really, really bad, horrible, cheesy jokes on purpose because they're so stupid, they're funny, and, then everyone would talk, oh, that's not funny. Like Chris DeZuba, I'm going to have to tag him when this is posted and say, hey, come watch it so you can hear me talking about my lame jokes. Because he's just like, oh, you're not funny. I know he's at home secretly laughing so hard he's crying, but, I'm not funny to him. That's what he says. Same with Chalmers, who only thinks I'm half funny. Yeah, he's at home laughing too. So anyway, that's just what it was. I would make really cheesy jokes, and then I would make cheesy jokes on Twitter, and I would tag Dayz in them every now and then. And I got to this point where everything I would say that was funny in the stream, I started screenshotting it and posting it on Twitter and tagging him in it. So it became this big thing. And somewhere along the line, I guess I dropped an actual joke. I don't know. And it became this thing. And Dayz was actually the one who first used the term Calyn's Corner.
Okay.
So, and I couldn't decide if I wanted to have an S in there or not. So I was just like, Calyn Corner or Calyn's Corner? And I finally went with Calyn Corner, which is what Dayz was actually saying. But minor detail. But anyway, so, that it just kind of came from that. He would talk about how I was always tagging him in all the stuff that I was saying. So he would I guess he'd try to see my comments or whatever. So maybe I didn't have to tag him on Twitter. Who knows? It's pretty funny. And then it became this thing where everyone was expecting it. So then we had sessions called Calynn Corner where everyone was just like anticipating my jokes. And truth be told, obviously most of them I didn't come up with. Most of the ones that people asked for on the streams I didn't come up with. All the random stupid stuff I did before that was all me. All the one-liners, the majority of them I got from somewhere or someone. So yeah, but who cares? Everyone's borrowing jokes from everyone, and if people are laughing and they've mostly never heard it before, then yay, I've made people happy and smiling and stuff. That's exciting.
There you go.
I
Oh,
should
listen,
more.
I don't think I've known a joke that I didn't take from someone at some point in my life. So unless you're a comedian and you write these things for a living, it's tough to do that. But yeah, obviously it took off. You got benefactors in the stream. You got we mentioned him. We got Rusty, one of our mods. Rusty is a benefactor, and if someone didn't remember, Rusty was right in there and said, "Hey, let's get the Calynn Corner out tonight." So you got that going as well. So I mean, obviously it was a big thing. It was really cool. I mean, it's neat where stuff like that just comes from, and obviously kept everyone entertained, and to the point where you had quite the following there.
I still encourage it. I'm not able to talk as much in the streams, but I'm genuinely there. And if I'm there at the time, at the end of a show and people request Calynn Corner jokes, I'll drop a joke in there. I'm still willing to do it. Rusty still requests them when he notices I'm there. And I would have, there was a couple of times recently I would have, but I had to hurry up. I was rushing to do something else. I think I did drop one once in the last couple weeks or so. But yeah, I got to get more of them. I do have more jokes now, but I don't have them right off the top of my head, or I'd drop you one before I left tonight. But,
oh man, see,
I could Google search them while I'm talking to you, but yeah.
Oh man, gotta love it. So let's ask you this. So what I know you've got a YouTube channel, and I know you did a video for your WrestleMania predictions. What made you get into the YouTube thing?
Well, truth be told, I've wanted to do YouTube stuff for years, and I never could decide what I wanted to do it on. So this channel might actually become a mixed channel. So I'm doing wrestling stuff. I've also, to myself, I could do top 10 anime stuff. I also thought I could do video game stuff, but I don't really know what I do on video game stuff at the moment. And then there was, what was it? Singing. That's the other one. The other one is singing. And so I thought maybe I could put music covers on there. But these are all the things I've pretty much thought of throughout the years that I'd like to do on YouTube and just never took the time to actually sit down and do them. And then I finally decided last month that I wanted to do it and made the first prediction video, and people loved it, which I'm glad about, because I actually hate my voice on audio. So that's the other reason why it took so long for you guys to get me on this podcast.
Oh, geez.
But since I made that video, it's just like, well, I did it now. People have heard me now. I might as well, get out there and start talking to the public and stop hiding like a hermit. So yeah, that's kind of where it started. And now I have this new prediction video for Money in the Bank, and I plan on hopefully not waiting a whole month before I put the next video up. So yeah, but that video is there and ready for everybody to see who wants to see it.
Oh, there you go. That's awesome. Well, give us a little preview. Give us two of your big predictions for the we're known for our teasers on this show. So give us a couple little teasers of your video and a couple of your predictions for the Money in the Bank.
Okay, so one of my predictions, let's see if I can remember what I said now. Because I didn't spend all these hours working on the thing. So I should have it all memorized by now. Well, okay, so let's just go with the biggest one that's me anyway. Bray Wyatt versus Braun Strowman. We all know I totally love Bray Wyatt. That's my dude. And I want him to win because it's Bray. And at the same time, I don't think it's right to just take the title off of Braun a month after he got it. It's his first title reign with the Universal title. And that would be just as bad as when they took it off of Bray after, what was it, the same amount of time, also a month, back when he was other Bray. My brain is so not working tonight. Before all this.
Cult leader Bray?
Yeah, when he was cult leader Bray.
Mm-hmm.
And they did the same thing.
It was 3 weeks.
3 weeks. Yeah, there you go. Yep.
Not even a month. And yeah, so I don't think they should, take it off of Braun that quickly. Just like I don't think they should take it off of Drew that quickly. I think that both of those guys should have a chance to after it for a while. And at the same time, I think that Braun and Bray's feud is not going to be finished after this match is over. I can predict really cool things happening, which I do talk about a little bit of in my video. So y'all can definitely hear those details there. And then the other one, I'll say Drew versus Seth. I'm rooting for Drew in that match. I think it would be stupid to take it off of him. Same deal. And I don't really desire to see Seth with a title again anytime soon. He had it for the whole time pretty much that I was watching last year since I got back into the show. And I'm like, yeah, I don't feel like seeing that clown carrying it anytime soon again. So I think Seth, he's all cool and dandy and he's doing a good job at being a heel because I really hate his character.
I was just going to say, you're not a fan of his particular gimmick that he has right now.
Yes, because everyone's just like, oh, yeah, he's the Messiah. I'm like, no, he's not the Messiah. They're like, oh, well, he's the Monday Night Messiah. It's like, he's a false prophet. Shut up. So I call him Seth the false prophet. I had a really good name for him like a week ago, and I can't remember what it was now. He's doing a good job at it. I mean, to be fair.
Yeah, I definitely think he's better as a heel.
Yeah, I do too.
It's much more interesting as a heel, and there's more character there. I just hate the gimmick because of what it is. To me personally, it disrespects the things of God, but that's nothing new in wrestling. I mean, we do remember the feud where Vince McMahon decided to wrestle with God years ago. That should be forgotten for all time's sake, but I never forgot it. So. And then he made it worse because I think he decided to win that match. I'm like, well, I guess you can dream a little there, Vince, can't you? So.
Well, that's called delusions of grandeur, and I think Vince probably has those much more than anyone might have.
Yeah.
Shocker.
So, yeah.
Yes.
So, Jessi, who do you think the glitch is?
Oh, gosh, the glitch. Okay, so, come on. I personally think that it is Ali. Because the little circle, that is totally that thing on his hand, that robotical hand of his that totally looks like the freaking electrocution hand that you see on, if any of you have ever seen the Legend of Korra, the Avatar Legend of Korra series, his outfit and that hand thing totally looks like that whole gig. But anyway, that's a side note. Yeah, I definitely think it's Ali, but I am not opposed to the fact that it might be Ali and a couple of other people, So, people believe that Shorty G.
Oh, God, don't say that name. Don't say that name. Jeff, look out. Jeff will get up on the soapbox.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
no soapboxes tonight.
None tonight. You
can't take him serious like that. So hopefully he's back to being Chad, because if it's like, him and Ali and what's his face?
Xavier Woods.
Yeah, I keep calling him the wrong names and I don't know why. But I called him Ezekiel the other day for some reason. I don't know. But I don't see Woods being in it if in my opinion, but at the same time, I get why people do see it. I mean, he could be. I think it'd be really cool if this forms a new faction, personally. That's my thoughts on it. I could totally see it forming a new faction. I know there are people hoping and believing that it is CM Punk, and I'm going to be the unpopular person that's going to make everyone hate me by saying that I am not a CM Punk fan. I never was, and I probably never will be, and I think that he is too high on himself, and I hope to God it's not him. Yeah.
I don't believe that theory either. To me, that whole thing with CM Punk has gotten to the point of where the Liv Morgan thing got to a little bit ago. And don't get me wrong, I love Liv Morgan. I do. And I really would love to see them push her. I'm glad she's getting some respect now. She had a good match with Charlotte. But the CM Punk thing, people just need to let it go. I really don't think he's coming back. I don't think, I mean, he's made it clear that Vince doesn't have enough money to give him to make him come back. So I just don't see it. And I mean, people keep hoping above hope. And look, it makes a whole lot of sense. And Dayz said this too. I think Jeff mentioned it on a show. It doesn't make any sense in the world to bring him back in front of no crowd.
Right.
So it doesn't make sense. And I don't see them doing it. If he was going to come back, look, they're saving that for a big show.
Yep. Yeah. He's not going to be a hacker, and because he apparently likes attention, why would he want to be in the background?
Right.
And if Vince couldn't afford to pay him when he had all of his money, he sure can't afford to pay him now. So,
yeah,
true.
No, that's very true. That's very true.
So,
So what are you most looking forward to from Sunday? And I guess going forward, we had a person ask us this too. So, being a wrestling fan, what are you most looking forward to when when everything returns to normal? What are you most looking forward to, and what are you most looking forward to at Money in the Bank?
Okay, so I'm most looking forward to at Money in the Bank. Oh gosh, what is it? My brain shut off because my boss did come in the room and almost talk, and I was just like, no, say nothing. So that totally distracted me for a hot sec. But anyway, I'm actually really looking forward to the women's and men's Money in the Bank match, because it's just completely different than anything, obviously, that they've done on there. And of course, as we well know, the completely different matches at WrestleMania were the best ones. So I'm really excited to see what they do with that. I did hear some rumors earlier about what if they split it up into parts throughout the show, and I pray to God they don't do that, because I think that's a horrible idea.
Yeah, that would be dumb. I agree.
If they did, I guess I'd just have to put up with it and live with it and hate on it. But yeah, hopefully they don't do that. I really am looking forward to it. I think it'll be really good. I predict someone gets knocked off a building because it's pre-recorded, so they can make it.
Yep.
So my dream win for that match is Otis, but it probably won't be him.
I'm kind of thinking that. I would agree with you.
Otis is my boo. Otis and Bray, they're my boos. No, my husband's my real boo. Those guys are like my pretend celebrity boos.
There you go.
Yeah.
And what are you most looking forward to when everything gets back to normal?
Having an audience, a crowd, and actually going to a show for myself.
There you go.
I really want to go to one. I really want to meet Bray Wyatt. He was at the show that I ended up not getting to go to. Which was like killer annoying, but
I feel your pain. That happened to me too.
I met the dude, and I was just like, I was so close. Gosh. So, and they don't come to this part of where I live enough, They come to like a place that's like an hour and a half away, but most of the time they don't come to the location that's like right down the street or whatever. It's like about 30 minutes away, and that's where they were the day that we were supposed to go. So I was just like, dang, that really sucks. But that's what I'm looking forward to, having a crowd, having an audience. I would love to see how Drew McIntyre is received with an audience, because I kind of feel bad for him that I think that having no audience is kind of not the best thing, for him, he's like a new champion and he doesn't get to get cheered. So I guess it's a little harder to gauge how well he's actually doing with the fans when there's none in the building. So, yeah. So I just really want to see fans. That's what I want. I want to get back to living and seeing fans living.
Yeah.
And I can't believe this. I miss the green shirt guy.
Don't tell Dayz.
Oh boy! I think Dayz wanted us to interview him. There was a point in time where he was doing a stream, and I think I kind of popped off and went back on, and I just heard everybody saying, "You got to get the green shirt guy to talk to the insiders." I'm like, "Oh no!" It's like, what is going on?
I feel like that guy has to be loaded, or WWE pays him to sit in the front row. It's one of the two because he's at every freaking show.
Yeah, I agree. He's a staple there. It's almost like Orange Santa is a staple at the NWA shows as well. So
I love Orange Santa.
I do too. He's a great dude.
Awesome. Who needs
He's a great guy.
Santa?
Him and I had a good conversation about the 80s because we're both probably around that same age. So I remember him and I were talking about, I think we were talking about We Are the World, not We Are the World, Hands Across America, that happened back in the 80s. And I think he actually took part in that, which was actually really cool. So him and I were talking about that. Yeah, he's a good dude.
He is a good dude. I agree.
Definitely. Well, Jessi, so tell everybody where they can find you on social media. Tell everybody where they can get the art or where they can find you, and tell everybody about your YouTube channel.
Okay, so I am kind of all over creation. I am on Twitter, first of all, and on Instagram. I am at J Calynn, CALYNN art, on both of them, at J Calynn art. And then I'm on Facebook too. I'm actually, I've been a member of the Firefly Funhouse fan group there with Jodie.
Yay!
Yay! Happy anniversary!
Thank you.
The anniversary, 1 year of awesome-tasticness. So I'm there. I'm actually my regular self there. I'm Jessica LS Wills there. It's my real name. I mean, in case it was obvious that my name is Jessica. Anyway, but it's not a big secret, so I don't care. And then I'm here on YouTube as Calynn Corner. So Calynn again, CALYNN Corner. And yeah, I'm here and I'm making videos on there, and yeah.
And if they want to get your artwork, where do they go to do that?
If you want to buy my artwork, contact me on Twitter. Contact me at jcalynart. You can actually go to my main page on there, and I have my artwork pinned up right now. And to note, the art that I have pinned up there, I have the 3 main Bray Wyatt drawings. But if someone wants to buy it, I am willing to sell them the one that I have as my header with the eyes. It's just I didn't print it out because it was a different size. So, it's a special order. If someone wants it, I'll print it out. And obviously, I'll sell it to them. Yeah, I'm not printing it out unless someone specifically requests it. In the same, I also have heavy machinery art too, if someone is like as big of a fan of those guys as I am and wants to buy that. So yeah, but it's just go to the pin tweet and message me or whatever, tell me what you want. All the information is on there, the pricing and everything, and I will be glad to ship it to people. If you're in another country, we'll see if there's a possibility of working it out, or if someone's willing to pay me the shipping price for it going to another country, because that stuff ain't cheap. So yeah. So
there you
that's
go.
On that.
There you go. Jessi, are you sure you don't have a quick joke for us? Because you can't look one up real quick and get one out there before we let you go?
If you guys want to ramble on for a couple of minutes, I'll pull one up for you.
Because I'm sure Mr. Shackelford would not be happy if we did not send him home from this interview with a quick Calyn's Corner at the end of the interview. Or Calynn Corner. Sorry, I didn't use the apostrophe S there. I know we would, and listen, we can't say no to Rusty, right? So we gotta make sure that he gets what he wants.
You can't say no to him, and you can't tell him what to do.
That's that. There you go.
Rusty does what he wants to do.
So I'd love to give him one. But yes, just gotta kind of ramble on for a second because I have screenshots of all these jokes that I could use, but I also have about 7,000 pictures in my phone. It's just a hot
Ah, yes. I'm familiar with the picture problem. Yeah. Yes, most of them are things we use on our podcast, so I'm familiar.
You too, huh?
Yes.
Oh, I think I have 11,000 pictures on my phone.
I think the worst one I've ever seen, and I work in electronics, so I've been in retail for 28 years, doing cell phones for 26 of them, and I think the worst one I ever saw was when a person came in, a woman broke her phone. She had it for one day. And
Oh my gosh.
And she came in the next day and asked us if we could help her get her pictures from the other phone. And I asked her how many, and she said she had 27,000 pictures on her phone.
That's a lot of pictures.
And I'm like,
that'll
wow.
be me in a year.
Wow. Luckily, we got her to use Google Photo. And she downloaded and there you go. I didn't know you could max out Google Photo. Well, you can. It's supposed to be unlimited storage. It's not. It maxed out at, I think, at about 24,000-ish. And then she was able to get the rest on a flash drive. So she was, good ending to the story, I guess. But yeah, 27,000. I don't even honestly know how you can look through that many pictures. No idea.
Possible. If you're scrolling and not actually looking at them, maybe.
Yeah.
And if you have several hours of time in your life to just sit there and do that.
Yes. Yeah.
Logan likes to look through all my old pictures.
True. Yep.
So he'll pull up old pictures and he'll go, Tate! Or Ari!
Well, there you go. That's it. Well, see, then there you go. Jodie uses them as a learning tool.
Someone your kid just made me think of this, and I was just like, I want kids someday, but when we actually want to adopt kids first, and then maybe have like one of our own or something like that. And when I posted that I was going to be interviewing with you guys earlier, I posted that a surprise was coming, and one of my followers said something to the effect of, "You're having a baby," or something.
I saw
like
that.
I
saw that.
No.
I saw that.
Like, no,
I saw that one. Yep. I saw that post.
I was just like, what in the world? It's like, no, I'm not having a baby. Goodness. But on a side note, I have a joke for you. Okay.
All righty, let's go. So, guys, we get to have our very own Calynn Corner. So here we go, Jessi. Take it away.
Okay, so I refused to believe that my road worker father was stealing from his job, but when I got home, all the signs were there.
Oh, yes. Love it.
Beautiful.
Love it. Perfect way to end an interview with Jessi Calynn. There you go, guys. Calynn Corner for you from the Insiders and from Jessi. Well, listen, guys, it has been a blast. We got Jessi on the show, and we talked about a lot of things here today. Make sure that you go and you check out her YouTube channel. She's going to have, as she said, her predictions for the upcoming pay-per-view on there. So go check that out. Also, check her out on Twitter and Instagram. And check out the artwork as well. Very good. The artwork is excellent. She's very good. If you are a fan of C Wrestling, a lot of C's characters, the cartoons have been drawn by Jessi as well.
Super
Baby C, I don't know if you guys remember. That was you too, Jessi, I think, right? Well, Baby C was you? There
Baby
you
C
go.
was me, the birthday card was me, and the character Super C that is all of his profile pictures, that was me too.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So there you go, guys. Jessi Calynn, we thank you, Jessi, for coming on our show. And listen, we wish you all the best with all of your projects, and I'm sure we will all see you in the community. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much.
You got it. Anytime. Come back and see us anytime, and we will see you very soon. Take care, and we will see you guys very soon as well. We'll see you in a few days. Take care, everybody.
Peace, my homies.